entertainment is worth making a full guide on because the amount of value and time that people put into it impacts almost everybody's life in a major way. Social media, video games, TV, YouTube, literally almost half of the interactions that people now do throughout their day is a form of entertainment. So I want to give them a second perspective, which I've written about here, on what's the purpose for entertainment. Some believe it's to bear with the innate suffering people have acquired over the years due to their incoherent and incorrect decisions that they've made about their past, in the way that they maybe regret something and it's hard for them to bear with that emotion in the present moment. So there is that aspect. However, I believe there's something even more profound, which is the ability to be capable of not only emotional intelligence, but using neurological and mental abilities to retain control over these emotional aspects that happen throughout your life and throughout daily moments, like the one you're seeing here or feeling here as you're watching this video. And it's also really important to recognize that having this ability makes your own entertainment in your own way, where you don't need any external sources to feel that your life is being fulfilled in the correct and desirable way as of your own creation and your own dynamic of where things are going and how things are doing. So to understand this better is that entertainment often works as a coping mechanism, which is usually implied to cover some sort of gap that the individual feels that their life is being affected by and that they need to fix in order to bring themselves to a higher status and become the ideal human which people aim for but aren't exactly sure about. So, entertainment often acts like a prescription drug. It solves the emotion in the present moment of, I feel suffering, let me go enjoy myself for however much time you are spent on that individual thing. However, it doesn't really actually help the ailment that is underneath it. So where am I going with this? And honestly, if this is a question that you are still asking as of right now, you probably already missed the point. Entertainment is a mental self-diagnosed prescription to a self-diagnosed problem with the purpose of covering the problem without addressing the issue itself. Okay? To put this in perspective, how else would drug addicts, like people who OD on, well, not OD because they die, but people who dose on heroin or crack or whatever drug you can think of, if these people are going overboard on these drugs, how come this isn't the only problem that they're facing? And it's because the drug is the surface problem, right? What happens a lot of times is people will forget the internal problem that they had in the first place, which made them externally search for a solution such as drugs. And when they're 2 years down the line of, smoking weed, they now have the problem of smoking weed in their mind and trying to quit smoking weed instead of the original problem where they hit someone on the road. But they forgot about it because they were using the substance as a way to remove this memory of this traumatic event, for example, like I just said, that they hit over a person, right? So it's this ability to consciously understand that the true problem of whatever you're dealing with is a different thing before trying to engage in entertainment as a solution, such as playing video games, doing drugs, so on and so forth, even if they're negative or positive. Maybe it's playing baseball, right? So having this ideology of entertainment being a substitute or a prescription for a deeper problem that needs to be solved with your own mental capacity helps you understand how entertainment is actually a short-term solution compared to a long-term effective solution, right? Because we can agree on most bases of life, the short-term solution does not compare in value to the long-term solution, which affects you and other people in a much more profound, positive manner. However, being difficult in the present moment is usually what they're classified as. So when you understand this and you yet still want to implement entertainment as a short-term solution to the suffering that you have, it's important to ask yourself that, is this, since you're implementing this, how do you determine a long-term solution? It's important to know, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is the action I'm going to take for the long-term solution, just as you would with the short-term solution, where you go and you say, okay, I'm going to go play the video games. I'm going to go turn on the Xbox, turn on the PC, grab the controller, grab the keyboard and mouse, and play whatever. Maybe talk to some people, so on and so forth. You understand that these are actions that are being built as you're going through the process of trying to use this coping mechanism, which we know short-term, which we know long-term, that mechanism doesn't work. So with that emphasis in mind, you have to have the same ideology, however, with long-term, because long-term things only happen in short-term repetitiveness. Hence, smoking weed, that only happens, maybe once, twice a day for most weed smokers, I would say, right? You pick up the bong, you do whatever, right? But when you put that into the long term, right? Let's say you want to go to the gym, right? The short term, you still have a short term act you have to do. You have to go exercise. And if you're trying to build muscle anyways, you also have to eat more than your caloric like deficit from like exercise, right? So having said that, now hopefully you understand that there's a long-term and a short-term consequence to entertainment, and there's a long-term and short-term consequence to the right solution for the internal problem, and definitely do not attempt to grab the solution for the short-term solution to the problem, because then you create unnecessary problems from being unaware of what your actual issue was. So the only good thing about entertainment that one could say is that it allows you to be free. And I'm defining that as meaning to not feel responsibility over your circumstances in the present moment. So this theoretically sounds good, but you have to understand that humans live in a concept beyond the present moment. They live in the past, the future, and the present. So with this concept in mind, is this actually supposed to be good? And how or when? I'm not going to say that in zero circumstances the short-term solution isn't the best. What I am going to say is that it's a lot fewer than what most people think, including yourself. So when you think about going into a solution, you want to make sure that you're not distracting yourself from the problem in the long term, and that you're able to transform and build that character which describes you as the person, as somebody who will change for a better version of yourself. And at this point, distraction can be interchanged with the word entertainment because they are one and the same. If we have learned anything so far, it's that this entertainment is distracting you from the problem that you have or the gap that you feel is in your life currently. And having this gap makes you... You know the feeling you get when you have like some sort of emptiness that something isn't existing in your life that you want, and you want to try to go for it. That is what I mean by this gap, right? Is that usually a lot of people seem uncomfortable with the situation that they're currently residing in. And most of the time, they'll look for a form of entertainment or a form of distraction to keep them not thinking about it, right? That just in plain terms. And then they turn around and they also think that this is the thing that's going to solve the problem, which obviously, knowing our prior knowledge, it's not going to. And to help people build this understanding, they have to apply something just once. So instead of, I guess the easiest example is if you're not fit in any way, right? If you're not fit, go exercise, right? It's gonna hurt in the present, sure, but in your future, which becomes your present, by the way, you will feel a lot more fit. You will be a lot in better shape, and you will feel that your body has a more affluent way of communicating to people that, yeah, I do have strength and I'm not someone who is mentally perturbed or lazy or stupid, right? Since, if you didn't know this, I'll give you this tip real quick, is that when people first see you, the only thing they're going to see is your body and your face and your hair. These three things. So without saying a word, the way to gain respect from somebody else, especially amongst men, is to build some sort of thing, to have some sort of craft that they can see took a lot of effort to be put in. So even if you are a very intelligent, bright person, you have to understand that the physicality of your presence and how you portray yourself in the first moments of impression is the way that people will begin to form claims about you and how they think that you're going to impact other people's lives. So, in a way here, I'll recap. The purpose of entertainment is almost guaranteed to be distracting yourself from the feeling of suffering in the present moment, which is training yourself to run away or dash away from your problems, which you may know or not know are damaging you. So, entertainment blocks you from your internal problems. It distracts you from being able to understand this is the source that's going to emphasize the solution to my problems. And it's also a way of forgetting what the actual problem was. For example, playing video games to distract yourself from a breakup. And this ends up in the long term causing much more harm mentally than necessary, instead of just simply having someone to talk or not even just talking about it or writing about it, just to help you understand the feel, like for a breakup example, to help you understand the emotion that you're feeling and to be okay with that in a sense, right? So use entertainment with caution, but let your life have memories which are quality and meaningful, and even if sometimes damaging or dark forms of entertainment are used, since obviously you only have one shot on this planet, so you got to position everything correctly and do things right, so that way you have the most fulfillment out of yourself, yet while having the most joy and meaning that you can emphasize as a lesson onto your children, onto your social group, onto anybody else that you have in your life. And so, thank you for watching.